Today is a very special Eye on the Desert. I'm very pleased to welcome critically acclaimed author Nana-Ama Danquah here to tell us about the 25th anniversary celebration of her book, Willow Weep for Me, which is a very personal journey through depression and mental health issues that started after the birth of one of your children.
Well, the only one of my children. I only have one, yes. So after the birth of my daughter, I started not feeling quite right, not being able to get out of bed, I guess it was postpartum, but it lasted way past postpartum.
It became more than that.
It became more than just that. And I started looking back on my life and realized it's something that had been happening in little spurts here and there. And so a friend of mine encouraged me to get help, and I did. And ultimately, one of my editors, I was writing for the Washington Post frequently then, and one of my editors said, write an article about, depression. I think we were talking and he asked if I'd read William Styron's book, Darkness Visible. And I said, well, yes, but as a young black woman, there was very little that I related to.
It's a very different experience.
It is.
But you chronicle that in the book.
Exactly. Yeah, it is a very different experience because when you're walking through the world as a person of color, your relationship with so many things are different, including stigma, what you're allowed to say you suffer from and what you're not allowed to say you suffer from, the sort of implication that, or the view that depression is sort of the domain of idle white women, who can sort of sit in a therapist chair. And then also just at the time, mental health treatment wasn't as widely available as it is now.
It's certainly true, and it was certainly true for everyone, but I think more true for communities of color.
Absolutely, because there was a real issue, first of all, with representation. It's hard to find a therapist of color if you are a person of color. Not that that's absolutely necessary, but sometimes if you're a woman, you don't necessarily want to talk to a man about your issues, and you want to talk to people who mirror your experience.
And we're approaching the 25th, we're at the 25th anniversary. Has it gotten better?
In some ways, yes, it has. In some ways, it has. On a very surface level, we're all able to talk about mental health now. But in other ways, it hasn't, because we still haven't cracked below the surface and really gotten to the point where everybody understands mental health as the same as physical health. We don't look at it that way. We somehow feel like if somebody says, oh, I have a mental health issue, that means, well, they're crazy, or that they've somehow lost control, versus if someone says, oh, I have diabetes or cancer or something.
We're still battling those stigmas, and it's true for all communities. But again, you do a beautiful job of chronicling what it meant to you personally, but also to people in the community of color and
Yes.
women in particular as well. So it's an
Thank you.
important book, and I encourage you to read it and check it out. It is available wherever you buy your books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all of those wonderful places.
All of those places.
And by the way, Nana is a local author. She resides right here in the Valley. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.